Hello, everyone. It's your girl, Miss Eileen, aka Grammy. And today we are doing the Video Creator Expo, which is hosted by Simplistically Digital. And really quickly, I want to talk about the mission statement. We help video creators by crowdsourcing a live audience through our virtual events. Now, I absolutely love that. And I also want to say happy Juneteenth to everyone, or shall I say, let's celebrate and commemorate Juneteenth. Okay, so I'm glad it's happening on today that we're doing our Video Creator Expo. Thank you, Simplistically Digital, aka Swarthy Daisy. All right, so we're going to talk about live streaming software. Okay, and I want to say hello to everyone in the chat today. Oh my gosh, this is such an amazing event. And one of the things that I've always wanted to do is I like tech. And when I learn about tech, I like to share what I've learned. So I'm constantly on a mission to learn more so that I can share it with you. And thank you for the super chat, Simplistically Digital. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So we want to talk about software and some of the things that we have to think about when we are deciding on the software that we're going to use to do our live streams. So, for example, are you going to use a browser based software? For example, Streamyard, or there's Facebook Live Producer, although I don't recommend that one unless you're really super techy. And Haps. I've been using Haps TV to do some of my desktop browser based live streams. And I'll get back to in a minute why I think Haps is a little special and why you should check it out. But what if you want to use a desktop app, meaning an application that you actually install on your computer? Okay, so sometimes that may give you a lot more control, but it also uses the resources on your computer. So, for example, Zoom, a lot of people use Zoom, and you can also live stream to your Facebook page when you're using Zoom. Personally, I don't use that one. And then there's OBS. It's very popular, so I could not go without talking about OBS. But once again, I don't use that one. However, EcammLive, which is the one that I'm using right now, and this also can be used as a virtual camera. So what's really cool about that is that I can use the virtual camera of EcammLive in combination with those browser-based apps that I mentioned earlier, like Haps and StreamYard, and also Facebook Producer. Okay, so it allows me to do things like this and putting comments up on screen. And, we're going to come back to that in a minute too. All right, so next. You want to think about where do you want your content to be watched, or where do you want it to be consumed? Okay, are you going to go live on YouTube or Facebook, Instagram, Twitch? What about LinkedIn? LinkedIn Live. What about Amazon Live? Have you guys explored Amazon Live yet? I hope you have. That's one way that you can also monetize your content. So, yeah, check out Amazon Live if you are already an Amazon associate. Okay, but the reason why you need to consider all these things ahead of time is that will help you determine what software you want to use, because some of these softwares don't work on some of these platforms. Okay, so all right, next I want you to consider very important, and each and every one of you is what I'm considering today, and that is your audience. Your audience and the type of content that appeals to them. All right, that's super important because if you're going to go live and have all these fancy microphones and lights and software, and you're putting out this content, and your audience is like, hey, over there on Twitter looking and scrolling through Facebook instead of watching your live stream. So you have to consider those things. Also, let's do an example. I mentioned Amazon Live. You know that the audience is shoppers, and what are they looking for? They're looking for products. They want to see you, using the products and talking about the products, giving all of your insights, insider tips and tricks. What if you're like me and you like to do tutorials? Then YouTube might be the best place to get visibility. And we know that people come to YouTube looking for how-to content. And they also stick around. So your content is going to have some longevity as well when you're putting it up on YouTube. Contrast that with Facebook, where even though you may go live and your audience may like seeing your tutorials and all that, the shelf life of your content on Facebook is very limited. It's there. If people catch it live, you may get a few replay viewers like within the first 24, 36 hours. But after that, forget it. So YouTube may be your consideration. So here's what you can do. Brainstorm a list of topic ideas. Brainstorm a list of topic ideas and consider whether or not your content is appropriate for the specific platform. Here you go. One of the biggest mistakes, and I admit I've done this in the past. We want to get more exposure, so we start multi-streaming or simulcasting without considering how the content will best serve the audience. So, a question that I hear all the time in the Facebook groups and all the places where people are asking about live video, even in chats on some of my live streams and some of my colleagues' live streams. People want to know if this software will go live on Instagram. How many of y'all have even thought about doing that? You want to be on your desktop, but you want to go live on Instagram. Well, the thing is, Instagram is intended to be a mobile live stream. And the streams that are on the app should be in portrait or vertical orientation. So think about that when you're choosing the different software that you want to use. So now let's just get into some of the actual features of software. And for example, Dr. Elo is here. All right, and I want to give him a shout out, even though he put one too many L's in my name. That's okay. It's ILEANE, Dr. E. But I can put comments up on screen. The engagement that you can get with your audience based on you being able to put up comments. Also, you can do polls and things like that on some of these platforms. For example, today I was able to put up a poll on the YouTube chat side. I kind of flubbed it up and deleted it by mistake, but if I had time, I could go in there and, I'll practice until I get it right. It's okay, even though I've been live streaming since 2012, which means it's like 9 years. All right, I still make mistakes. And then, of course, these platforms change and they introduce new features. And so you gotta stay on top of all of that. So when you're talking about your pros and cons with your different features that the different platforms and the different software offers, you do need to stay on top of it to know what's changed. For example, I mentioned LinkedIn Live earlier. Well, for a long time, I was able to, or I should say, a lot of streamers were able to go live on LinkedIn through Streamyard. And those of us who primarily use EcammLive were not able to. Well, about a month or two ago, EcammLive finally got approved for LinkedIn Live. So, but if you're not paying attention to these kinds of things, that could totally go over your head. Now, coincidentally, I got an email from LinkedIn saying, congratulations, you've been accepted for LinkedIn Live. So, that's another thing to keep in mind is that some of these platforms, you have to go through a process like Amazon Live. You have to apply to be an Amazon influencer. LinkedIn Live, you have to apply before you get accepted. So all these things that I want you to consider before you even start thinking about what software you're going to use. Because, like, say, for example, if you want to go live on Twitch, it may not be appropriate for some of the content that you have. So you just got to dig into that and make sure. And that's why I said I want you to brainstorm. I want you to write down your ideas. Okay, so what I want to do now is talk about repurposing. Repurposing this content, because we're doing these live streams. We want to be able to get some extra juice out of it. We want to be able to get some extra value out of the content and make sure that we're providing it in the format that our audience, remember I always say, think about your audience, that how they want to consume. So sometimes your audience wants to consume your content via maybe a podcast. And some people, just believe it or not, they don't like video. I don't know what's wrong with those people, but some people just don't like, they're just not into YouTube or live streaming. Or they just can't be there when you go live. But they can listen to that podcast version. So, for example, EcammLive makes that super easy because every time you go live, a video is downloaded onto your computer. You can easily convert that into a podcast using Anchor. All you have to do is drag that video file and Anchor does all the work for you. Also Streamyard. And when you're done with your podcast or with your live stream, Streamyard will give you a way to download. You don't even have to worry about the conversion because Streamyard will give you two versions of the file, the audio and the video. Okay? And I'm just going to pop a couple comments up there because that one caught my eye. Hey, Barry. Barry says, this is awesome, Eileen. Seems like she is closed it out because I tried to vote. Tracy, yes, I'm sorry. I closed out the poll by mistake. And by the time I realized that I closed out the poll, it was time for me to go live. So I apologize for that, but I will put a poll over on the community tab when this is all done. So, and thanks El Jefe for being here, and also Tech Valor. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And it's super important. And I love that you guys are even talking amongst yourselves and saying hi to one another, because that's what this is all about. It's about community and all that. So really quickly, since I see my time is almost up, I want to talk about monetization. This is something else that you need to consider. And the reason why I said earlier that I was going to come back and talking about HAPS is because HAPS has that monetization already built in the platform. You don't have to do things to qualify. You don't have to have so many watch hours. And you can, on HAPS, you also can multi-stream and it's free. However, the con is that you're going to have their logo on your streams. But hey, it also can bring a lot of engagement for your videos, because people will be like, well, what's HAPS? I don't know about that. So I'll be sure to leave the link in the description for you guys to sign up with my referral. That helps you get extra coins when you sign up. So it's super important. And one more thing before I go, because I see my time is running out here, I want to talk about Buy Me a Coffee. That's another way that everybody can monetize. For me, it's eileen.link/coffee. But for you, I want you to get your own coffee. So that's eileen.link/get coffee. Sign up for Buy Me a Coffee. They take less money than would be taken from YouTube, or even if you have Facebook, monetization, or Twitch. They take less of a cut. They take a very small cut, even smaller than Patreon. So I want you to sign up for Buy Me a Coffee. And with that said, looks like my time is up. So I don't want you guys to forget to go over to the next video, which is Holla at Your Boy.